This is Second Wind.
Today, we're speaking with Jaime Robinson. Jaime is co-founder and chief creative officer of JOAN, the New York-based creative powerhouse. It's been named Independent Agency of the Year by Campaign, Small Agency of the Year by Adweek, and an Ad Age A-list standout. Jaime, welcome.
It's brilliant to be here.
You've had this incredible journey in your career from Pereira Odell to Wyden and Kennedy, New York, and then, co-founding JOAN. And I'm sure there were millions of steps in between. But what made you want to take that entrepreneurial leap and build something from scratch? Because it's not always the easiest option.
No, Gary, as you know, it is not ever the easiest option. No, I probably have been like an entrepreneur for my whole life in some capacity. In high school, I used to go into New York City and buy sterling silver jewelry from the wholesalers.
Yeah.
I would come back to my high school, and in between class periods, I had a leather satchel, and I'd unfurl the satchel and I'd sell it for markup. And then I had like another business that I accidentally got into where I started a children's clown.
Are you kidding? I know someone in the UK that did exactly the same.
When I was at Pereira Odell, it really hit me. I loved working for PJ and Andrew, but I really enjoyed the startup part of it and the crafting of what the culture could be. And I thought, wow, that's something that I think I want to do someday.
Fantastic. You've got it in your blood, clearly.
It's like it's pure creation. And, where we come up through the businesses we are creating in the mediums that we have. We're creating in TV or experiential or social or whatever, influencer, all the different mediums that we have to create in. And I think creation of a company is another creative endeavor that is something that is an ongoing creative endeavor. It's never finished. You're always shaping it every day. And the days that you think that you haven't done anything to shape it, actually you look back, a week or 2 weeks later and like, wow, that was actually a really important day or, months later. And so I really enjoy the creativity of entrepreneurship.
I'm going to talk about something that happened in Cannes when we spent a wonderful evening with you and Xanthi and Danielle, and said something that really...
Yeah, but hang on a minute. What went wrong there, Gully? But what went wrong? Let's listen to that.
I don't know, honestly. Oh, my goodness. Whew.
We didn't record. There was some...
Well, we recorded, but the audio didn't.
Yeah, a techie glitch.
Yeah. Look beautiful, though.
It did. It looked gorgeous. But anyway, you said something in Cannes that is basically the only thing I remember from that evening, right? And you talked about your creative process. And I think it's quite challenging to get creatives to identify something that can be sort of a soundbite into a creative process. And what you shared was sort of fascinating to me. And it resonated on this really like deeply human level. It's sort of beyond words, right?
When we're at our best, we're connecting with people emotionally. I think step one is get attention. And many of my colleagues in the industry are really focusing on attention. That's great. But once you have the attention, what are you going to do with it? And that's where human connection is paramount, right? That's how you win, but not just win for the client or win for the business. But that's also how you win for humanity. It's really important to understand the emotions that I want my work to convey. And to get in that headspace, before I do anything, I have to find a song that makes me feel how I want someone to feel when they see the work that I do. And I'll listen to it again and again and again and again. Sometimes it's like really embarrassing. Like one time it was like Pink's Raise Your Glass. It was like, it's like this really, tootin' song. And my husband was like, why do you have 463 plays of Pink's Raise Your Glass? And I'm like, I was working on a project.
It's work, okay?
There have been times where I'll be sitting there and I'll be so in the emotional state that I will be tearing up even before I've written anything or thought anything. And I'm like, okay, now you can get to writing.
How long does it take to get the right song? I mean, do you sometimes there might be a project and, you go through a few, you're like, you play it 12 times and then go, actually, no, it's just not working.
Yeah, Carrie, that happens all the time. There are times where you start and you think, okay, I want this project to make me feel heartbroken, right? And I want to listen to something that makes me feel heartbroken. And then you're starting to do it and you're getting in there and you're like, that's not what I want people to feel. I want people to feel angry. That's what I want people to feel. And then I have to go and hunt. But for me, even the source, the looking for the song and the hunt for the song is part of the process that helps to identify how I want people to feel.
It's fascinating to me because it's almost like an actor's process. You're almost getting into method acting in having to embody that feeling. You have to just absolutely embody it in
Yeah.
order to be able to do your best work. For me, it's a really unusual way of doing it, to be that obsessive about it. It's really fascinating.
When it works, it can be super transcendent. It's interesting because you suddenly realize that you're feeling the emotion that the musician wanted you to feel.
Yeah.
So the chain of storytelling and the chain of emotional giving, right, continues, and now you pass it on to somebody else. And I think that is what it means to be a human being. That is, the most exciting part of being alive in general, is finding a way to connect emotionally. I get to try to make the people that I work with feel the thing and watch their faces change. And then we'll work with the director and get them on board, or a client and get them on board and have their faces change. And then we're going to eventually be able to broadcast this feeling to the masses. And that is the coolest thing ever. That is, to me, like, that is the gift and of what we do.
There's a wonderful quote I came across, which is music is all the words that don't exist. Oftentimes we overestimate words and language as the only form of communication. What I hear in this process is almost like the antithesis of AI, right? Which is like sort of oversimplifying creativity and our work into something that can be programmed and predicted and prompted. And this to me just feels so deeply human as a creative process. It really stands out as something that like is a great example of like why AI can't touch the real craft of advertising.
Yeah, I think, it's funny that quote is fantastic. And it's really interesting because when I listen to music, I can know all of the words in a track. I can be able to sing them, and I can have never thought about what those words mean, but I can know that they made me feel something.
Yes.
And my husband, on the other hand, he listens to all the words and he's like, I love this song. I'm like, I do too. He's like, because it means it's been written about.
Yeah, he's deciphering
like,
it, right?
I'm
You're
like,
like,
I have no I'm singing all the words, but I feel it. And it's really, and I'm a writer. So that is a very odd thing.
yeah,
Like,
interesting.
they're the words
Yeah.
never written. I think as far as your AI question goes, it's interesting because I think that it's really good at tricking people and tricking you into thinking it's human. And I use AI all the time. I use ChatGPT all the time. And I started to realize I was using ChatGPT even for like therapy things. My therapist was like,
Sure.
are you replacing me with AI? I'm like, no.
Just a little bit.
I'm like, Doc, ChatGPT says this. And she's like, what? I'm like, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, ultimately, you have to remember it is not. It is a synthesis of all of humanity's words, but it is not another human on the other end. And I think that we have to be very careful not to be tricked by that. And, the movie Her was obviously such a watershed moment, right? It,
Yeah.
like, in technology and in cinema, in movie making. But as we start to see that catch up and us to be in a place where I literally was like, I actually think I can see how people fall in love with AI as we start to get more and more behind screens. I feel like the human connection will be something that will be at such a premium. The smart people in marketing and advertising and basically everything will be investing right now in how do we create more connection between people, especially as implants and wearables become the norm. Being connected to a real person, not just living behind the facade of the digital, will be really important and will actually be something that is of financial value and for everybody.
You used a phrase earlier, which I'd love to dive into, which is winning for humanity. And you've mentioned humanity a couple of times now already. What does that mean to you, winning
What are you
for
talking about humanity, Jamie?
Yes.
Yeah, what the what?
Did I say that? Oh,
What is
crap.
that?
Boy, that's
Wow.
right.
So I'm interested in the early days of Joan.
Yeah.
When you and Lisa dreamt up Joan and what it is, and how you navigated, ambition and how you built a team. And part of that, I think, is all about winning for humanity. I think you have a very heavy lean into purpose with a
Yeah.
small p and perhaps a huge capital P.
Yeah.
And you use this phrase winning for humanity, which I'm fascinated by now that we went down the AI route. So That was what I was interested in.
Yeah.
What was your drive with Lisa? I get it that you've always had this entrepreneurial spirit through your life since you were hawking jewelry as a teen. So yeah, that's what I'm interested in.
When we started back in 2016, beginning of the Me Too movement, it seemed like we were about to have our first female president. That was going to be cool. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I think actually even, starting Joan and it not happening, at first we all were very devastated. But then we were like, wow, it's even more of a reason to have this company than ever, because actually we were founded with diversity as a core principle of the company for business reasons, because we wanted more voices around the table who could contribute new ideas and also communicate to communities in different ways. That was and has always been and still is a part of Joan. When we talk about winning for humanity, I'm the mother of two kids. I have a 17-year-old daughter and an almost 15-year-old daughter. Both of them are extremely creative people, and I've encouraged them to go into creative fields. And now I'm sitting here on the precipice of replacement of creative jobs by machines. We should absolutely use machines to help deliver our creative vision. And the things that we would have done that would have been laborious, have those things be done faster so that more of us actually can apply our creativity. As I think about my children, the thing that really occurs to me is that we need somebody who's going to get them and all the young people into the field in a way that is a complete rethink of what they used to be used for. So young people used to be used for the grunt work that is now being done primarily by AI. Once you take that away and you say, the person who's going to write 100 lines for me is no longer a person, it's going to be an AI, because that's what I need to do to keep track with the speed of business. By the way, debatable, but let's assume that is the case for the majority of people. There is no role now for the young people to enter the workforce. So now we have to figure out what role is going to be for the young people to enter this workforce, or they won't enter into our industry, which will be a huge loss for the relevance that we can have in the world. Us oldies, we need the youth to come in and say, hey, this is what we're interested in. This is what people care about. This is what they're talking about. This is how to connect with people. The other responsibility that the industry has is not just to find new roles for the young people, but actually help train them in a way that they did not get before. Because the way that we all got to where we are is by that 10,000 hours or whatever it is that.
Yeah.
But making mistake after mistake after mistake. Yeah. After you make, a gazillion mistakes, you suddenly know what to do. We need to teach kids really how to become professional grown-ups while using their new, fresh exuberance to make our stuff as relevant as possible.
So how on earth do you do that at Joan?
I don't think anybody's talking about this nearly as much as they should. I think the bigwigs are worried about how to replace these people and save money. Right. And they're not worried about what's going to happen next. How do you keep an industry that is already on wobbly legs relevant? Youth is and always has been the key to that. So right now I'm working on modules that will help young people learn the things that they need to learn. We have to do that as an industry. It's always been about being open to ideas and versions of creativity that may not look exactly like your version of creativity. As you work with things like influencers and in social, the things that will really shine in those places, the things that are really super creative in those places, do not look like what is really creative and will really shine as a Super Bowl spot. If you try to take the Super Bowl spot and you try to put that into social, it is actually a flunk. It's a fail, right? You cannot.
It's an expensive fail.
It's an expensive fail. And it's an expensive fail also because not only do you spend all the money, it's brand expensive because you look out of touch. For too long, we have had one definition of what great creative looks like. Not everything that is frigging special and amazing is going to win a shiny trophy. And certainly not everything that's going to perform for a client or perform for a brand or perform, even most importantly, for an audience. Like we have had shit that is killed, like just smashed in social. Smash. Did it win in the award show? No. These are the things that we really as an industry also have to grapple with.
I'm fascinated by that. But, can you give an example of what's winning in awards which isn't connecting with audiences?
It's no secret this year that there was some things they were like put in the lobby of some office.
There were scam ads.
And, bless the shows because they have tried to actually put results as to prevent against scam ads. People are finding workarounds and some of them are getting caught and some of them are not getting caught. Yeah. Are those things creative? Yes. Are those things excellent solutions? Yes. But if they were not meant to address a real world business problem, and if they were not meant to connect with a real world audience, and they are just meant to connect with 12 people sitting in an air conditioned room in the south of France, it's not worth anything. It's not. It's us chasing our own butts. I adore when something that is really successful wins. I am going to tell you something. I work a block away from Fearless Girl. I have to walk by that thing every I have to see people from all over the world lining up to stand next to it and take the pose. It's a reminder that anything is possible in our business. It blew away all the records of what could win. Rightfully so. When there is a snowstorm in New York City, do you know what they show? On CNN.com, they show a picture of Fearless Girl in the snow. It is a part of culture, and that is what we have at our best to try to be. And that's the opportunity that we have in front of us. Doing scam ads is the most ridiculous, pointless piece of crap, especially when the same amount of energy can be put into doing something real. Maybe it's a little harder because you have to find a client and you actually have to hit the jackpot that way. That to me is like, come on, guys, let's really strive for excellence and award what is really, truly excellent by audiences.
Your week now feels like something crazy is happening. A lot of things that maybe a couple of years ago would have been a big deal just doesn't even get anyone's attention because it feels like we're just being capsized as we try to live our everyday lives. What are you hearing from clients, how their goals and objectives and the way they want to build brands and work with you all, how that comes to life? Because obviously agencies traditionally structured around, TV commercials, let's call it, for the most part, radio ads, print maybe, but, obviously the last 10, 15 years, we've seen social, mobile, now it feels like every brand wants to work with influencers or creators. And, it's like, we've got 1 week and we're going to have, this celebrity and we're going to shoot them for 20K and that's going to be our US Open activation.
Yeah.
Right. And it's sort of like, I don't know what an agency does in that situation. Obviously there's stewardship, there's creative platforms. I'm a big believer in creative agencies, but I'm curious what you're hearing from brands that you're working with around what's the value they see in you and what you're being tasked with.
We have a tool that helps clients navigate these really tricky times because when you're a marketer right now, you can spend your money in so many ways, right? You have this budget, it's finite. So we've developed a map that helps them plot where they are currently in all the different mediums and all the different choices they have. We call it the Modern Legends Growth Wheel. And whenever we get a new client, we map out where they are, we map out where their competitors are, and we strategize with them about where they should be putting their money because they may come to us for what they think is a social project. And we may be like, yeah, okay, let's talk about this, but is really social the first thing we should tackle? Should we not tackle actually your design? And is this not an opportunity for us to do some rebranding design? Or we might say, look, you came to us for a TV commercial, but with your budget and where you have and where the white space is with your category, actually building in social is really the right place for us to go. So we have developed a tool that helps them really have a very intentional conversation about where to put their money. Because I think right now it's really overwhelming and my heart bleeds for marketers because how do you do that? How do you justify it to your C-suite or your board? It's an interesting thing. You mentioned that everybody wants to do creator marketing and they do. And I think when it's done correctly, it can be extremely powerful. You have to start with creators who already have a natural affinity for the brand. I think just shoving a product in someone's hand, it's not convincing. And one of the things I love what we're doing at JOAN is you can create these creative frameworks in which the creators can play. We work with eBay and we have a cast of about 22 or 23 creators that we work with, and they are doing sketches and challenges between each other, and they all then also have storefronts on eBay. And so it's really cool because it's not just I like Waterloo soda or whatever that is, right?
Yum.
What is that? I need to see that again.
It's a little seltzer.
It's vodka.
It's got vodka in it, right? I'm in. I'm so
it's like 3 o'clock in New York.
It's a bit too early for that. You make it
Friday.
Just wait till 4. But
the dogs are howling. It's time for a Waterloo. Second wind. Brought to you by Waterloo.
Exactly.
The cat's ass is out.
Actually,
that's one way to get partnership deals.
One of the things I just want to say about the second wind and your partnership deals, my favorite thing about this, and when we first, your second wind because we recorded our failed podcast at like 10 p.m.
We recorded.
Yeah.
But it was like at 10 p.m. And I think that is such a fun thing.
Oh, we had so much fun.
Go to dinner. Have a
Also,
glass
we
of wine.
we stood at a bar.
We
and
stood
did
at a
it.
bar, had a glass of wine, and
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, do a podcast and call it the Second Wind Podcast. I mean, I know that's the name of your thing, but I think that is such a cool thing to do nighttime podcast recordings with people from. I love it. So
People
love
are
it,
under the
yeah.
influence of alcohol.
I mean, yes, at Cannes, it is the best idea. You will
Yeah.
get juicy nuggets every time.
I know.
You just have to
that would have been an award-winning episode,
That would have been epic.
and we blew it.
God.
So listen, let's talk about Second Wind. What is your biggest pivot, do you think, in your career? What is I was going to say what's the wind beneath your wings, but that's so
That's
Bette Midler.
lovely. That's
love
lovely.
Is it, Lisa? Is it?
Little wind. You are. I remember that song so much. Actually, funny story.
You're my hero.
My best friend Carrie, back when that song came out, that movie came out, Beaches, we kind of had this moment where she was like, I think like, you're the wind beneath my wings. And I was like, wait, no, you're the wind beneath my wings.
Oh.
And it became like but it was a little bit like
wing off.
wing off. It became a wing off. Anyway, and it's funny things you remember from when you were a kid. What's the biggest pivot? I guess probably you'd have to say like starting an agency, right, would be a big pivot, right? You going from being someone who's gainfully employed for your entire career to being like, literally, I don't know what's going to happen. But Lisa and I didn't take a salary for about 8 months that we were doing this, and anything we pocketed because we were lucky enough to win a bunch of clients right away.
Well, you won Netflix it felt like within days.
Yeah, and actually, even before Netflix, we already had Progresso soup from General Mills and got a call to say, hey, would you guys like to pitch on Progresso? At this point, I had linked up with Lisa. We came in and pitched on it before we even announced as JOAN, and won it. So we were producing Progresso soup, which is kind of an odd one to be doing as your first like rock and roll agency via Progresso soup. But the client was hilarious. Ray Jonkus, if you're listening to this, I love you to death. And I would love to work with you again at some point in my life. There was one line, they had this new chicken that they were saying.
I can sense Gully searching for it as we speak.
Listen, I was like this. I mean, they told us when we first did this, said we have to use food shots. But anything else you do, like if it's all food shots, anything you want to do is great. So we developed this character, this narrator. It was actually done by John Lithgow. So our first,
oh, that's amazing.
which was like a first thing that we made, actually had like a celebrity voiceover.
Oh my God.
And the client let us do this thing, it was for this chicken, and it was long lived chicken. Well, at least until it's in the soup. And it was like, you're not gonna let us make a death joke, are you? And they're like, yeah. So I'm like, that's cool. All right, let's go. So there was quite a few funny little bits like that, and I really love it. And then weirdly, John Lithgow was on Jimmy Fallon, trying to promote The Crown, which he was on. And Fallon was like, "I hear you're doing Progresso soup."
It was then.
It was then. It was
My goodness, what a great time to have him on your spot.
Not intentional, Carrie.
Yeah, but perfect. But
It was
perfect.
easy. And Fallon brought a bowl of soup. And he was like, do the Progresso thing. And he ended up doing the Progresso thing.
That is amazing. What I want to learn about is the Womanikin, why you got onto that and how you created that. Women are, what was it, 27% less likely to receive CPR, right? And they experience heart attacks. We experience heart attacks in a different way compared to men.
Lisa and I were working late one night on another project, and she was researching.
One of you had a heart attack?
No, but I do. There is a story where I've heard, I don't know if it's apocryphal or not, that Lisa actually gave the Heimlich maneuver to somebody at some workplace and saved someone's life. So I have no doubt.
Brilliant.
The woman is amazing. She is like ice under pressure.
Jamie,
we were researching one night. We were working on something, and she was like, Jamie, this is crazy. Like, men are 27% less likely than men to get to receive CPR from bystanders. Our first idea, immediately I was like, we should make female mannequins because I've got trained on a flat-chested dummy. And we had a group who started to research it. They talked to the doctor that had authored the study. And the doctor said, people don't give CPR to women because, one, they don't think that women have heart attacks, because in the movies,
It's always men.
Always men. And to your point, Carrie, women experience it in a different way. The second thing is they are afraid to hurt women. And to perform CPR is a very violent maneuver, right?
Yeah.
It's violent for good, but it's a violent maneuver. The third reason is that they're afraid to touch breasts. They think
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking, that people feel that they're going to violate somebody.
Right. And that's also for good reasons, but terrible because the result is not good. We started thinking back and talking about how we were all trained in CPR. All of us had learned on flat-chested, genderless dummies. And we thought, could we actually create this female mannequin that had boobs, that you could just get over it, right? And we started working with CPR experts, and they were like, this is really fascinating, but the problem is that many people that are CPR instructors are independent, and they can barely afford to have one dummy, let have two dummies, or they call them mannequins. So we started thinking, okay, is there another way around this? And we thought, let's create an attachment, a vest that is like got breasts in it, silicone breasts, and we will put it over any dummy, any of the mannequins. And we'll make it open source so that anybody can do it, because our point is to get the most of these things out. Well, we created this, and within 48 hours, we had such we were basically covered in almost every major newspaper, media outlet across the globe. Like, I'm talking about
Love it.
like in India and Australia.
You invented an essential product. It's almost a no-brainer, to strap a vest on.
Yes, and my lawyer is like really upset that we didn't patent it. What's so fascinating about it is this has been a problem. Sometimes a problem and a roadblock actually becomes the greatest part of the creative solution, because people couldn't afford another mannequin. We made this vest because this vest was easy to be produced and also really friggin' weird looking. It forced a moment of conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like the minute you have an attachment and you put it over something, it forces a moment of conversation. The very first thing that really made me so proud about this was we had a high school in Chicago that their senior class project was to make one for every single instructor in their area. So mandated legally by the fire departments of Argentina. We still get emails where people are like, can you make us 2,000? And we're like, honey, we are not in that business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
There it is.
Is the mannequin.
There it is. This is where work goes way, way, way beyond traditional campaign work, isn't it? I mean,
it's weird. I don't think, if you asked me in the beginning of my career, what I think we would be here, where we would be actually making medical device, and not only that, but actually working with some of the American Heart Association's top doctors on this. New York Presbyterian got involved. So, and this was just, our team, it was a labor of love, a passion project. And how do we get it out? And this is many years later, it's still going strong. We've been working with the WNBA. Women's basketball has had this real upward trajectory. Our team was noticing there's still one place where women are not really welcome, and that is on street courts. It's really a guy's place.
Interesting.
And it's hard for them to get time on the courts. And even when they reserve time, their reservation is not always respected. It's very macho. And so we wanted to help. Our team was looking at the courts, and they said, wow, every basketball court that is a park court in the country, we either have the NBA 3-point line or the high school 3-point line. Nobody has the WNBA 3-point line. So could we actually draw a line in the court and literally put down a fire orange, which is the color of WNBA, line at the women's 3-point distance the WNBA shoots from, and use that as a representation for women belong on this court?
This line, fire orange. This line's not decoration. It's a declaration. For every young girl who was told, wait your turn. And for everyone who won't. This line is yours.
It is going in courts. It's already down in courts in New York City. It's in Indianapolis for All-Star Weekend. Actually, at the All-Star game this year, they symbolically painted the 3-point line that color orange in honor of it. Somebody in Amsterdam, a fan, is drawing it on her court.
Oh, really? From Amsterdam?
Yeah, people are really vibing to it. So to launch it, we worked with some basketball influencers, putting out these mysterious orange lines, segments of the court. And then we made a mini documentary that featured some of the great stars from the early days that didn't have weren't, and had to really fight their way on the courts.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that work because that work is, you can see the passion of our team.
But you can see the passion from you also emanating from you, you know, and I think that is thrilling to see, because not everybody talks with such passion and such heart, you know. Not everyone's winning for humanity, Joan. Not everyone's winning for humanity.
Yeah, well, but what we do is like such a you know, it's like not work. I mean, it is work and it is hard and we sweat and we,
Of course.
but it's like, if someone is going to give you a chance to broadcast and like reach so many people with whatever it is that your ideas,
Yeah.
you know, or your message, and also, you know, the idea of creating brands that mean something, like they mean something, like
Yeah, exactly. It's not just more than a brand, you know. I know very little about basketball. It's not a sport which I grew up with, and I didn't know that there are different point, you know, lines for men and women and schools as well. There's a different one
Yeah.
for schools, you said. So this to me it seems like such a no-brainer. Once you've done it, it seems so obvious. Why isn't it already
Yeah.
on the courts? You
Yes.
know, and
Best
that's what I
ideas
love
always
about
do.
yeah, but that's what I love about Joan's work.
Well, thank you, Carrie. And actually, people said that about the Womannequin too. They were like,
Yeah.
"It's a no-brainer." Like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
They're
It's a
not
no-brainer. Yeah.
not tricky ideas. They're just using the mediums. And like, that's why I also love, you know, that's also the Womannequin too. Like, what I love about this is creating outdoor advertising for women and women's sports for WNBA, but
Yeah.
in the form of a line, right? Sure, we
And
had
it's
the go-
beautiful, simple work.
Thank you. And then I think with the Womannequins, like, I always look for what can we make a medium. And if you use the Womannequin on a dummy, that mannequin, that regular flat-chested mannequin, that instructional tool actually becomes a piece of media for your message.
Yes. Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
and that's what I really love, is like turning everything in the world is media. Everything is the media. It's just how do you flip it or turn it or play with it or deepen the story in a way that can create meaning. So that's what I love to do.
Killing
I was gonna ask-
chickens, helping women live. What I love about those two examples, though, Jamie, is they're solving a real problem for a certain community. For the Womannequin, it's literally saving people's lives.
Yeah.
For the WNBA, you were able to really find something that was so core to the product and the community,
Yeah.
and then execute that in a way that, again, is so tightly integrated to the product. You're literally painting lines on basketball courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that is the idea that extends into the advertising, right? It's not
Yeah.
like you're just like coming up with a clever way to talk about paper towels.
Yeah.
Like
although, you know, we do have an amazing paper towel client. Do you guys know?
Oh,
Seriously?
all hail the kitchen
The
towel.
Brawny Man?
Ronnie Man.
Wow. See?
We don't
Oh,
burn him until it's time to use it.
You're trying to reformat the. You've got we're talking soup. We're talking kitchen towels.
We do.
We're talking
I mean, you
lines
had the
on
goat
basketball
of VO.
courts. We're talking strapping on breasts on
Yeah.
Yeah,
mannequins.
breast vest.
I mean,
Should have been breast vest.
it should have been breast vest.
Well,
I
breast
have to say.
vest. Gully, you can come up with your own line. It's open source.
Yeah.
Make that money, Gully.
The breast vest. He started the breast vest. He's a billionaire.
So we usually end with one particular question, which is
Yeah.
about legacy.
Hmm.
And maybe it's the breast vest, otherwise known as the Womannequin.
That's my legacy.
That's sorry, my mistake.
I'll make sure the team edits.
I'm talking
the credit
Gully's
for me.
legacy now. But Jamie, what is what do you hope for Joan? You know, in 30 years' time, what impact do you hope that Joan has made, both, you know, in the advertising, marketing, communications industry, but also, you know, on the world at large?
I mean, I hope that, you know, we've created things that advance culture in some way. The best work we do pushes forward in some way, either pushing forward in terms of the subject matter or in widening people's lens on what certain kinds of audiences are, or just great creative, like pushing forward into like, oh, no one's ever done that before. Like, that's a real weird combination, or how we use mediums or storytelling. So I really like to be seen as a company that advance the story and the narrative of the world somehow. And so that's what we try to do.
I think you've already made the world a better place.
Thank you, Gully. Thank you. That's very,
Was it striving for humanity?
Yeah.
What was it?
Winning for humanity.
I can't get that one. Sorry. Winning for humanity.
Winning for humanity. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jamie Robinson, thank you so much for coming on Second Wind. It's been an absolute blast.
Really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it. And let's do late night at the next conference.
Let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it.
do
Seriously.
late night.
gotta do
Let's do
late night.
boozy. Second
you can tell-
boozy wind.
Honestly, the other story that I will never forget is you and Xanthi and Danielle, 3 incredibly accomplished, amazing creative leaders, saying that you met because you were the decoration for your creative directors, like standing behind them on a stage.
Yes, it was.
No speaking role. It was a really amazing thing to hear and to see all you've achieved, all of you. And it's very inspiring. And, you know, I really have huge admiration for what you've done, and Danielle and Xanthi too. So
Thank you. Yeah, those
appreciate
two are truly, they're legends, man. I just, you know, this is not what you want to. You're like, the podcast was over, Jamie, already. But I will say, you know, I think it's really incredible. There was a time when women did not lift each other up, and we felt very competitive with one another. And now I find that my favorite people in the industry, the people that challenge me most and make me laugh, and that I get so excited to see, and who I really truly root for, so many of them are women. And Xanthi and Danielle, boy, they are powerhouses, and they're fucking cool, and I love them. And I just tell each other, well,
you're right up there next to them, shoulder to shoulder. So congratulations for you.
Thank you, guys.
brought to you by Breastvest. Sorry, I should have said that was awful.
Yes, you need a little. If you need a logo,
Wow.
that's been a great
He's
friend.
already plugging his own product, which is a competitor to the Womannequin. Golly, you disgust me right now.
My second
I'm
wind
so
is the
ashamed of you.
Breastvest. It's my second wind. Okay.
I love it.
Oh my God, that's fabulous.
What a pleasure, Jamie. I really appreciate you
Thank you,
and
guys.
your time and everything you're doing at JOAN too.
Thanks, guys.
And your pooches. And look, I just like to finish with a shout out to what's the dog's name is in trouble again?
Mochi.
Mochi.
I just want to give Mochi a shout out.
She's,
you know what I mean?
She's
She's a bit of a
Mochi.
troublemaker.
Stinky Moji.
Stinky.
I love a stinky dog. Okay. You know what I mean?
I'll send you guys pictures of Mochi.
And I want
Need and want.
Stanley.
Stanley. I want
Stanley.
Stanley doing
Amazing.
that. Please.
You're such a gentleman.
Okay. Can we get him on the show, Mochi and Stanley?
We need a dog version. We need a pets version. This is going to be
Yes.
amazing. My
Bring it
cat
in.
can lead it. It's all going to be fine.
I love it. This is great.
We've tried to wrap this up 7 times
get back to
already.
work, you lot. Come on. All right. Thank you,
It's
Jamie.
it's 20:09 at night here.
I'm sorry, Carrie.
I need to eat.
Go to
Good
bed.
night, Carrie. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks,
night.
Jamie.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.